Hi, it's Chris from the Mode Designs team, and today I'm going to show you how to build your brand new Mode Sonnet. The Sonnet is our 75% layout keyboard with loads of customizability from a variety of different colored top and bottom options, a plethora of accents and weights, and plate materials to suit any preference. If you do need any assistance in choosing your Sonnet parts, check out our overview and configuration video linked up here and in the description down below. We do also have a written build guide with helpful photos if that's more your speed that you can also find linked in the description down below. Every Mode Sonnet is packaged to arrive safely to you. We've got one large box containing most of the parts itself, and then we have a smaller box that contains your top and bottom pieces. So let's start with the smaller box. So opening it up, you can see that we've got our gorgeous lavender top case that we chose in the configurator video, as well as that polycarbonate bottoms that we can get a little glimpse into the case itself. So once you have everything unboxed, you'll want to organize your parts. So to confirm, you should have a top case and bottom case. You should have your accent and internal weight. You should have a plate, a PCB, a daughterboard with the daughterboard cable. You should have your plate caps, a whole set of screws, and if you need any help, you can refer to this image to ensure that you have all the necessary screws. The case fastener screws will be pre-installed on your board. You'll also get a Mode screwdriver with bits, a keycap and switch puller, as well as a small loop syringe to help you tune your stabilizers. If you ordered the optional parts, you'll also have plate foam, PE foam, and a silicone base. And if you opted for a hot swap PCB, this is everything that you'll need to build your board. If you opted for a solder PCB, then you will also need a soldering kit. In addition to your board, you'll want to make sure that you have your MX style switches, keycaps, and stabilizers all ready, all of which are also available on our store. For this build, I'm going to be using our brand new Mode Obscura linear switches that come factory lubed with Krytox 205 G0. To prepare for your build, I suggest lubing your switches and stabilizers ahead of time to get the most out of your board. We also very highly recommend that you test your PCB, regardless of if it's a hot swap or a solder PCB, prior to building your board. We can't guarantee a replacement PCB that was not tested prior to assembly. On your computer, download a program called VIA. Navigate to the Key Tester tab and enable Test Matrix mode. Place the PCB face down, connect the daughterboard to the PCB, and plug it in. Using a pair of tweezers, you'll want to connect the metal contacts under each switch position and make sure that it lights up in VIA. The function key won't light up, and that is normal. In the rare event that some keys don't light up, pause your build and contact support@modedesigns.com. So the first thing you're going to want to do is install your case feet. It's as simple as it seems. Simply peel off the feet and insert it into the recessed channel on the bottom of your board. Now when you are doing this step, take care not to stretch the feet as you do this and press on the feet to ensure that they're properly adhered. Smooth out any raised areas. If you do end up stretching the feet as it extends past the recess, try to squeeze it back into place rather than cutting it. Now while your Sonnet is face down, use the provided H2 hex bit to remove the case fasteners and separate the top from the bottom. Step 4 is the daughterboard. The first step you'll want to do here is to connect the JST connector to the daughterboard itself. Then using the 4 M2x3 fasteners, screw it into the bottom case, being sure not to over tighten. Now you can move the bottom case out of the way while we prepare the PCB. Now if you do plan to use the optional PE foam, lay it on top of your PCB now and make sure to align it properly with the stabilizer cutouts. It does only go in one way. Now install your stabilizers. These are used for your longer keycaps like Shift, Enter, Backspace, and the spacebar. It's highly recommended to pre-lube your stabilizers to prevent any rattling sounds, and we'll leave a great guide linked in the description below on how to best do that. To install your stabilizers, insert the non-threaded end of the stabilizer into the larger cutout on the PCB and pivot the threaded end into place. While holding it from the front, screw it into place from the underside of the PCB with your stabilizers included screws. Some optionally also come with some washers that you can use. Now it's time to install your switches. Before installing them, make sure to check that each switch's pins are perfectly straight. If they are bent, you can usually use tweezers to try and make them straight again. Now you can remove the Mylar standoff covers and align your plate on top. Fasten into place with the 4 M2x5 flathead fasteners. Now you can insert your switches. And regardless of if it is a hot swap or solder PCB, we do recommend starting in each corner and randomly distributing your switches to ensure that the placement is seated properly. If you do have a hot swap PCB, we also suggest bracing the back of the hot swap socket while pushing the switch into place, and be sure the switch is going in perfectly straight. If you have a solder PCB, now's the time to also solder up your switches. Make sure that each switch is installed correctly, and you can check your PCB from the side angles to ensure that all the switches are seated completely flat. You can also optionally reconnect your daughterboard to test your PCB again in VIA, just to make sure everything is working properly. Next, you'll want to slide on your total of 5 plate caps onto the tabs of your plate. Now your PCB plate combo should be complete, and you can set that aside until we're ready to finish the build. Now you can bring back your top case, and with the top case facing upright, you can gently lower your accent piece into the recess on the top case. Now flip the whole thing over while supporting the accent from the top side, and screw the accent using the 4 M2x10 fasteners. Once that's in, you can set your top case aside and bring back your bottom case. And now you have options. You can choose between an isolated top mount or a stack mount build. For both of these options, you still want to gently lower your chosen internal weight into the recess of the bottom case. If you want to do an isolated top mount build, you'll want to screw the weight into the bottom case now using the 2 shorter M3x5 flathead fasteners. And then you can place your PCB into the top case face down. Start with the bottom of the PCB and then the top, and secure the plate to the top case using the 5 M2x5 fasteners and avoid over tightening. If you want to do a stack mount build, lay the silicone base on top of the weight and then screw it down using the longer M3x7 flathead fasteners. For this build, I'm going to do a stack mount. Now place the PCB into the top case face down, again starting with the bottom of the PCB and then the top. Unlike the isolated top mount configuration, you won't need to use the fasteners here. And now we're almost there. Now grab your bottom case and align it with the notch at the bottom edge of the top case. Now while holding the bottom case, use your other hand to attach the daughterboard cable to the PCB itself. Now you can close the case up, ensuring that the cable is sitting in the recessed area of the bottom case. And finally, with the bottom side facing up, secure the bottom case using the 2 M2.5x12 fasteners. To finish this build, I'm going to go with a very simple black on white keycap set. Finally, just install your keycaps, tune your stabilizers as needed, and your mode Sonnet is complete. For any help or technical support, feel free to join our Discord link in the description down below, or reach out to our support team at support@modedesigns.com.